A number of characters in Overwatch have damage fall off, which reduces their damage by a set percentage between the starting and ending distances. It's important to know these starting and ending distances and the way that affects your damage. In all cases, damage fall off is applied linearly with distance between the start and end of the fall off range. If a character has 50% fall off between 10 and 20 meters, at 50 meters they would be at 75% damage, and at 90 meters they would be at 55% damage. During this video, I'll be giving DPS values for minimum and max fall off ranges for both the peak value, which is the damage a character can do without reloads or cooldowns accounted for. For example, D.Va with micros and primary fire both active, or Soldier using Helix and a full clip, or Roadhog's damage while firing all 6 shots. And I'll also give the average damage of each character, which is the damage a character will do over a long period of time while using their abilities on cooldown and with the reload times included. There are 2 weapon types with different fall off percentages, shotgun type weapons and regular weapons, where shotgun heroes are any character that fires more than 1 ammo per round. Shotgun type weapons receive a 70% reduction between the starting and finishing distances, and regular type weapons receive a 50% reduction. Shotgun heroes include D.Va, Roadhog, Doomfist, Reaper, Torbjorn's Altfire, and finally Tracer, who shoots 2 bullets per instance of damage, all of which go down to 30% of their original damage at their max ranges. Regular type heroes are Ashe on both fire modes, Bastion on both fire modes, McCree with both, Bull, Soldier, Sombra, Widow and Baptiste. D.Va has 70% fall off between 10 and 20 meters, bringing her primary fire DPS down from 146 to 44. Roadhog has a 70% fall off starting at 15 and ending at 30 meters, and his right click after the explosion acts as a normal primary fire shot from that point. This means his range with secondary fire is extended by 8 meters, and his fall off starts at 23 meters and ends at 38. His DPS goes from 214 during his clip within his damage fall off range to 63.99 outside of his fall off, and when his reload is taken into account, the 2 values fall to 145 and 43. It should be pretty clear from this that the comparison that people make with D.Va's shield break to Roadhog is a little bit misled. D.Va has the most drastic fall off range in terms of the difference to a character's actual damage output, as her fall off starts and ends the earliest of any of the cast, and the only character her range ties with is Reaper. Whereas Roadhog has an effective range that only starts taking damage fall off at 23 meters, a reasonable jousting range for shield break in pre-fights. A lot of people think that D.Va has high shield break potential, but it's extremely limited compared to most people's estimation, and the Reinhardts need to be basically brawling already for her to be doing effective damage. When playing a comp with D.Va and Rein, it's important to close that distance and get into brawling range as soon as possible, and there's no real gain from fighting 15.5 meters away. Continuing with the shotgun heroes, Doomfist has a shotgun fall off between 15 and 30 meters, reducing his damage per shot from 66 to 19.8. and his full clip from 264 to 80, showing that in a reasonably brawly comp, putting a few shots into a Rein shield in pre-fight can help the shield break. Reaper had the tied closest ranges, between 10 and 20 meters, cutting his massive 280 DPS during the clip down to 84 and when used at longer ranges against shields. It's nothing to write home about, but certainly isn't nothing if you get a few shots in. Torb's secondary fire has the same fall off ranges as Reaper and D.Va, bringing his non-overloaded shotgun damage per clip from 175 to 52.5. And when the reload is accounted for, his DPS drops to 112.5 or 33.75 after the fall off. If you really care about doing the most damage during a clip, his left mouse button starts being the highest damage per second between the two at above 14.7 meters. And if you care about total overall damage including the reload, left mouse button starts being the most effective option at 11.8 meters. Overload gives him a flat 43% increase to his damage, which is always a flat multiplier because it affects both his shot fire rate and his reload time. Tracer is the last shotgun hero and received a change giving her an extra 3 meter range a couple of months ago, so she falls off from 13 to 23 meters now, from 208.7 damage to 111.63 during her clip. It's hard to underestimate how much this change helped her. 70% fall off on Tracer is 16.8 damage lost per clip per meter over a fall off range, meaning she gained 50.5 damage per clip at all distances between 13 and 20 meters. All the rest have regular type weapons and have 50% damage reduction over their fall off ranges. Ball starts with 15 to 25 meter fall off range from 125 DPS during his clip and 75.47 DPS with his reload included. Baptiste has a 25 to 45 meter fall off from 115 DPS during his clip to 100 DPS with his reload included. And Widow's SMG has 20 meters to 40 meters fall off. It's pretty short to be honest, meaning she does better damage at reasonable shield pressure ranges than most people think. 130 DPS during her clip is nothing to laugh at. Sombra's fall off starts at 15 and ends at 35 meters, meaning that at 20 meters, which is a reasonable pre-fight range, she deals 87.5% damage. Soldier's fall off starts later at 30 meters and ends at 50, meaning that at all but the longest distances he deals his full damage, which is 129.59 at his maximum average when Helix is used off cooldown. Ashe has a 20 to 40 meter fall off for unscoped shots and deals 160 DPS during her clip with a 68.57 average including her long reload. And for her scope shots she has a 30 to 50 meter fall off with 121.43 DPS during the clip and 82.26 DPS during the reload, all of which obviously are cutting half at max range. Both of McCree's left and right click have the same fall off range at 20 to 40 meters. His primary fire deals 166 recurring DPS during the clip and 104 DPS on average, and his Fan the Hammer deals 384 during active fire and 131 DPS on average. Bastion primary has a shorter range than its siege fire by 5 meters at 25 to 45 meters and 30 to 50 meters. His recon mode deals 160 DPS during his clip and 109 DPS on average, and Sentry deals 450 or 371 damage on average. That rounds up all the heroes with damage fall off. As a quick side note, many characters have a much steeper damage fall off curve against armour due to the compounding effects of lower total damage and lower pellet damage per bullet, but I'll probably cover this in depth at some time later. Anyway, much more to follow. I've got a full video on each hero's shield damage coming up, and this was a little segment split off from that video that I thought might get a bit overwhelming otherwise. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you next time.